This is KMCV Channel 7, the only local channel covering all of the CNMI.
You're just in time for KMCV News. Here are some of the reports you'll be seeing within the next half hour. The public came out in force today as tempers flared on Capitol Hill. Opposing sides presented their views on a bill that would alter Article 12. And last night, an induction ceremony for the Rotary Club of Saipan took place. We'll tell you who the new officers are. And we talked to a Grand Marshal of the Liberation Day Parade as she describes the trials of World War II. All of that plus much more on tonight's KMCV News. Stay with us. Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday edition of KMCV News. I'm Glenn Wakai. We'll have weather and sports in just a few minutes, but first, topping our news this evening. This morning, senators talked money. They initially talked about Article 12, and we are working on that story at this hour. The group began the day with a session where they passed their version of the fiscal year 1993 budget. It included Senator Ed Meritisa's floor amendment for emergency personnel for the CNMI government.
546, hazardous pay. Hazardous pay is hereby authorized for the following qualified personnel: police, detective, firemen, emergency medical, and boating safety and personnel within the Department of Public Safety, installer, lineman, and like personnel within the Commonwealth Utility Corporation, the Commonwealth Health Center medical personnel, emergency response personnel within the Disaster Control Office, inspection and investigation personnel within the Custom and Quarantine Office, inspection and investigation personnel within the Immigration Office, security personnel within the Commonwealth Port Authority.
Senator Jesus Sablan chairs the Senate Ways and Means Committee. He thanked his staff for their hard work on preparing the budget for passage and says they are ready to get to work on the next one. He hopes that the House will cooperate in smoothing out the budget passage to make it more timely.
It's a long and overdue budget, and we will try again. Should we have the 1994 budget, so the government will give us that 1994 budget, your committee will stand ready again to start working. As you know, the Senate cannot act on the 1994 budget without the actions of the House. But perhaps, Mr. President, in your capacity as the President of the Senate, you will inquire the governor for the 1994 budget. So we will at least try our very best before we reach December, or earlier, before we reach even October. We will have a 1994 version arrive at the Senate.
Last year's budget passed 11 months into the fiscal year. In more financial news, a CNMI delegation is in the nation's capital to discuss federal funding. Acting Governor Benjamin T. Manglotnya says Finance Director Eloy Enos met with congressional staffers regarding $3 million for the American Memorial Park. Money for the facility was in jeopardy due to allegations of financial mismanagement.
We're happy that, according to Eloy, finally the committee members felt that based on the examination and based on their review, there's no such thing as an abuse of the park money.
Manglotnya says progress on the American Memorial Park is moving full steam ahead. In 2 weeks, the pavilion is expected to be completed.
The parking lot is about ready to be paved. The small memorial monument in front there for the flagpole and the pedestal monument, it's about 80-90% completed.
Crews are rushing to complete the park in time for next year's 50th celebration of the NMI's liberation. But before then, there's the 49th celebration of the NMI's liberation from the Japanese occupation. A local woman has been chosen to preside over the upcoming festivities. Mina Dela Cruz talks to one of this year's Liberation Day Parade Grand Marshals.
For 26 years, the cinema was a Japanese possession that came to an end on December 7, 1941. At that time, Amalia Diaz was 29 years old. Today, at the age of 81, Diaz still has vivid memories of the war, especially the hospitality of the Japanese people.
No, Japanese time, sometimes very good, sometimes very hard. That was something bad. Then the people, good for people. Plenty machine gun, plenty bomb, I know that time.
You're not scared?
Scared? Oh, too much.
Amalia was a housewife and her husband a taxi driver before the American invasion. During the Japanese occupation, they were known to be the first Chamorros to own a car, but the Japanese took it. During the war, they were placed in Camp Susupi, which was run by Americans. This is the actual photo used on the Camp Susupi official identification card. At the age of 81, Amalia still enjoys life. It's a gift from God, she describes humbly, and gives her great inspiration. The people of her village respect her and see her as their mother. Selena Diaz-Taylor shares about what people thought of her mom.
My mom is they consider her here in San Antonio as the mother of San Antonio people. She's a very special lady. They really respect her. And she's a very helpful person to the community, who needs help. He comes around and help. And also, he's the president of the Christian Mother here in San Antonio. She's been with this community, with this group for so many years. And up to now, she's still the president of the Christian Mother.
In San Antonio, Mina De La Cruz for KMCV News.
Tomorrow, Mina will talk to the other Grand Marshal. Daniel Ogumura will talk about his days in Camp Susupi. And coming up next, the important public hearing on possible changes to Article 12 took place this morning. We'll tell you about that heated discussion, and we'll also talk about the economic impact of Article 12. Stay with us. Stay away from the Tinapag Harbor. The Disaster Control Office announces that tomorrow between 9 and 4, the explosive disposal team will be detonating live ordnances in the Tinapag Channel. The public, particularly tour operators and fishermen, are being asked to stay at least 1 mile away from the area. The remnants from World War II need to be destroyed before work can begin on the port expansion project. During the course of testimony at today's public hearing, references were made to a loss of $48 million in tax revenues. The figure came from an independent analysis of the impact on the NMI by Article 12. 6 hotels in the NMI footed the bill for the Guam-based CPA firm of Pete Marwick. Marketing Director John Quinn explained how they arrived at the figures.
The impact is directly there over the next 3 years. There's about a $48 million direct impact in lost taxes and revenues from the CNMI government.
Is this from hotel rooms that were put up?
Hotel rooms that were not put up, will not be put up, and based on 6 projects that were not started. And we interviewed 6 property developers, and they said that the reason they were not going to proceed with these projects was because of Article 12, and the impact of that was 3,442 rooms, and we translated that through a lot of calculations to be $48 million in direct tax impact and another approximately $50 million in indirect money that would flow through the economy through disposable income of the workers and through income developed through supporting industries, supporting businesses that support tourism and construction.
According to the report, the real impact of the Article 12 controversy did not take effect until a year after the Aldon Pierce decision in 1991. And we are still working on a story regarding the public hearing that took place this morning. We hope to have that for you shortly. For 26 years, business leaders of the Commonwealth have been involved in community service organization. Last night, the Rotary Club of Saipan installed its newly elected officers. Mike Sablan is now the organization's president, Tim Bellis its vice president, Francis Borja the secretary, and David Welch will handle the club's finances. President Sablan says the main focus of the upcoming year will be on the Sinamai's youth.
What then? Because we still believe that education is a basic need, we will continue our efforts to raise funds for scholarships, for library books, for educational tools of trade. We will continue to inspire young, aspiring leaders and invite them to speak to us about their goals and ambitions.
Sablan says Rotarians will continue to support beautification projects, disaster assistance, and preservation of the culture. And Longshot Willie is busy getting the sports segment of the show all set, but he tells me we have highlights of today's Wimbledon matches.
For today's sports fans, the Termites are eating their way to another championship. They remain undefeated as they beat the Toyota Wills 20-11. The Wills are now 5-4. The winning pitcher for the Termites was Eddie Santos, with Tony Beneventi coming in to relieve him. Paul Camacho hit a 2-run homer. For the Wills, the losing pitcher was Larry Guerrero as they made 11 errors. Don't forget to watch Monday Night Baseball on KMCV Sports.
As we've been mentioning, there was a significant public hearing this morning on Article 12. Article 12 has been blamed by many island residents as causing the economic downfall for the Sinamai economy. This same constitutional provision also is hailed by many as the spirit of the Chamorro and Carolinian people. No surprise then that any attempt to modify Article 12 hits people at both ends of the emotional scale. Carlotta De Leon Guerrero reports on today's testimony at the public hearing on Senate Bill 8-124.
It was standing room only in the Senate session hall this morning as island residents gathered to testify on Senate Bill 8-124, a measure that would put the Article 12 controversy in the legislative arena instead of making it the exclusive property of the court system. Tom Sweeney, the attorney for the Marianas Public Land Corporation, says original landowners shouldn't be able to get the land back.
And that's why we think that the bill might address that question and provide a means by which the possession of the land can, in a successful Article 12 suit, be forfeited to the government as opposed to returned to the seller. Otherwise, the seller has too much leverage.
The Bankers Association supports the bill but thinks it came too late.
So we feel that the passage of this act would help to correct the controversies in the judicial interpretation of Article 12. Simply put, we feel that this bill can best be described as damage control. Article 12 and the controversies have already done damage to the economy.
The Hotel Association likes the bill because it'll allow their industry to grow.
Unless the existing problems with Article 12 are remedied, future hotel developers will not invest in the CNMI, therefore making it difficult to encourage the expansion of our #1 industry, tourism.
The Contractors Association has fewer workers now, and passage of the bill might change that for them, and they say for everyone.
We had an alien labor force of 6,000 workers in 1989. We are now down to less than 2,000. Those people that we have working for us take the development money, millions upon millions of dollars, and spread that money throughout the community. Well, it's not happening anymore, and people feel it.
Former Tinian Senator Serafin de la Cruz wants to get rid of Article 12 altogether.
Get Article 12 repealed, and let's live like an ordinary, free people on the freedom of enterprise, freedom of choice. Let's give our people the right to choose what they want.
A certain Mr. Babauta said if the middleman was cut out of land deals, there'd be no problem now.
If you deal with landowner directly, you have not get this problem. But because the attorneys and consultants cheated the landowner.
Attorney Rex Kosak supports the bill, talked on the need for a time limit of 6 years to bring an Article 12 lawsuit.
Because looking at a document doesn't tell you where the money comes from. So that's where the need for statute of limitations comes in. There's got to be some way to bring some certainty about as to say title. There's got to be some cutoff point where we say, okay, it's now clear. And that's what the statute of limitations does.
Attorney Ted Mitchell, who has brought most of the Article 12 lawsuits on behalf of the original landowners, opposes the bill and sees no reason why the time frame to bring a case should be changed to 6 years.
Has been 20 years. It's been 20 years for the last 10 years. It was 20 years for the 10 or 20 years before that. Why change it now? It's another strategy, part of the overall strategy of whoever wrote this bill and whoever's promoting it to destroy the Article 12 rights of the people of the Northern Mariana Islands.
Senator Paul Manglona, who chaired the public hearing, then had to go into some crowd control to move the hearing along. Manglona had asked for 32 members of the public and private sector to testify at the hearing and heard their statements first before moving on to individual concerns.
Benaya chance publiku como monada nestisia e lista papa says guai tete we no guagi publiku malago comentos por statute of limitation por favor.
Abel Olopai told the senators that people didn't understand what they were doing when they sold land.
Unfortunately, quite a few of us do not know the value of the lands and are not aware of the fact that they could not sell their land because it's against the law. It's against Article 12.
Former Governor Carlos Camacho first chastised Senator Manglona for not including opponents to his bill on his list of people to testify. Then he chastised the people who sold their land and won it back.
Todo e masasangan gi presenti ilan owners lachi. E dio li sa dio ilan owner lachi sa no negosyo da bendi tanonya.
The subject then moved on to attorney fees. Attorney Mike Dott says parties will settle cases if there's a reason not to prolong litigation.
That's the problem with the contingency fees for the Commonwealth. It prevents settlement. And as evidence of that, there's only one Article 12 case that has ever settled. That's the PIC case. And like I said, it didn't settle until a fee bill came out, until the attorney for the plaintiffs could see the writing on the wall, and then they quickly rushed and settled that case.
Ramon Mofna says he should be able to hire who he wants and pay what he wants.
I really believe, since I'm directly involved with one of the cases, that myself as a client, I should be allowed that privilege and right, as far as I'm concerned, to select my attorneys and to pick my fees.
Jarina Blas opposes the bill altogether, saying the courts can handle it.
Walk with caution. Demonstrate your wisdom. Leave this issue in the hands of our trusted men in the Supreme Court, in the judiciary.
Well, it's been an interesting newscast, and it's only going to get interesting. It's time for Tag Team Weather. Take it away, Will.
Glenn, we had a nice day today under sunny skies with isolated light showers, and the high temperature was near the 90s.
For tonight, expect partly cloudy skies with isolated light showers, winds easterly 5 to 10 miles per hour, and a low temperature in the mid-70s.
Let's move now to our regional temperatures. Saipan today posted a high of 89 degrees. With mostly sunny skies, Rota and Tinian posted an 84-degree reading under sunny skies. Palau today reported showers with a temperature of 81. Our neighbor Guam was partly cloudy with a high near 90 degrees. Yap posted 85. Pohnpei's temperature was 86 under cloudy skies. Marjoril was 84 under partly cloudy skies. And Chuk today was rainy with a high of 82.
Nice job there, Will. And in the Pacific, Manila had a steady temperature of 84 degrees under hazy skies. Honolulu was 87 degrees. Hong Kong and Tokyo both reported a high of 79. And Seoul was under fog with 72 degrees. Taipei's temperature was 88. Down in Sydney, Australia, the temperature was 54 with mostly cloudy skies.
Seas tonight will be slight to moderate, 2 to 4 feet. Surf conditions 3 to 5 feet on northeastern clockwise through southern beaches. And reefs and 1 to 3 feet elsewhere.
Another fine job there, Will. Our first low tide tonight is due at 9:33 p.m. with a low of 1.4 feet, and the tide will rise to a high of 2.5 feet at 3:22 a.m. The sun will set at 6:51, and sunrise tomorrow morning will be at 5:57.
And for tomorrow's forecast, expect the same as what we had today. Sunny skies with isolated early morning showers and the high temperature in the upper 80s to low 90s. And that's it for the weather report.
And Will, it's a little early to tell what kind of weather is in store for the weekend, but the Red Cross's biggest fundraising event is definitely in the forecast. The Club 200 dinner raffle is slated for this Saturday at the Hyatt Regency. This year's theme is Harmony, a symphony of sight, sound, and taste.
That's all the time we have tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.